Xenagogue online. Welcome, Guardian. Today we will be looking at the 1320 Legend Law Sector, Chamber of Starlight. Recommended power level, 1320. Champions present, Overload and Unstoppable. Burn present, 50% bonus damage to all solar damage. Shield elements present, Void and Solar. Modifiers present. Locked Loadout. Match game, mismatching elemental weapons versus enemy shields will considerably lower your damage. Extra shields. Enemy shields are increased from base amounts. Limited revives. Limited fireteam revives. Gain additional revives by defeating champions. Epitaph. Taking combatants generate blight geysers when defeated. Number of champions within the Law Sector. Overload 1. Unstoppable 3. Advised Loadout. We advise you to use a bow for your kinetic damage and Overload champion stunning weapon. There is a single Overload that spawns at a far distance within the boss room, so otherwise your main damage output to unshielded enemies will be your bow. There are currently 3 kinetic bows available to Guardians. The 2 that are the easiest to acquire are in the form of Biting Winds and Whispering Slab. Energy Slot. We advise you to use a fusion rifle for your energy damage and unstoppable champion stunning weapon. While the burn for this Law Sector is solar, we advise you to take a Void fusion rifle due to the high concentration of Void shielded taken acolytes, and the boss being a Void shielded enemy. Of the Void fusions, we advise either taking your exotic slot for Telesto or select the legendary fusion rifle Null Composure. Heavy Slot. We advise you to use a solar rocket launcher for your heavy weapon damage, and to also take advantage of the solar burn. The only solar shielded enemies within the Law Sector are 2 major class Taken Knights. Of the solar rocket launcher class, there are 2 we recommend, and they are in the form of Ascendancy and Code Duello. We prefer Ascendancy due to its innate tracking, although Code Duello is applicable if used within mid-range. If you have chosen to keep your exotic slide for your heavy weapon, we advise you to use Sleeper Simulant, as it will benefit from both solar burn and particle deconstruction. Loadout using gameplay. Biting Winds with Quickdraw and Snapshot sights for Overload champion stunning and general damage. Telesto for close to mid-range unstoppable champion stunning and Void shield breaking. Ascendancy with Impulse Amplifier and Explosive Light for mid to long range high single target damage. Your first champion is immediately after you spawn, an unstoppable champion. This champion is fairly far away from any other enemies, so we advise you to engage it immediately with your fusion rifle. Following the unstoppable champion will be a Taken Hobgoblin Sniper, which should be engaged immediately after the champion, and a high concentration of Void shielded Taken Acolytes supported by a major class Taken Knight. We advise you to engage the Void shielded Taken Acolytes before engaging the Taken Knight. Your second champion is within the main boss chamber, an unstoppable champion. Instead of chasing this champion, engage the enemies in the surrounding area. This includes the snipers in the background and the major class Taken Knight. After these enemies have been dealt with, provoke the unstoppable champion to chase you. Keep a fair distance, but lead him to the pathway you entered. This step is paramount, as when you defeat the champion, the boss and 2 other champions will spawn in very close proximity of you. If you are quick and precise with your positioning, you may engage the 3rd champion, an unstoppable champion. The other enemy forces will not have enough time to stop you from eliminating this champion, which will give you much leeway and time saved. We then advise you to engage the boss and the surrounding red bar enemies, as your 4th champion will be out of range to engage you, an Overload champion. Your reward rewards will not be any less if you engage the last champion after the boss has been eliminated. In certain cases, your third unstoppable champion may have retreated behind these rocks if you did not engage the champion when it had spawned. We advise you to either clear out the red bars, or engage and lead the unstoppable champion to a safer location for engagement, like you would have done with the second unstoppable champion. This concludes the guide for the 1320 Legend Lost Sector, Chamber of Starlight. Force the taken to receive your solar light. Xenagogue, offline.